the most important decision of your life you have made to get married, and congratulations. In fact, this is the most important decision for life, for a lifetime, and it's also the most important decision for eternity, for that matter. Now, one of the reasons that I say congratulations is because it's a wonderful reality that you are asking for a blessing from the church for your marriage, for your unity, in other words. Following are the things which we, as the church, recommend, especially the St. Nicholas parish here in Indianapolis recommends to all the people preparing for the holy matrimony, the mystery or sacrament of the holy matrimony. This is the checklist. First and foremost, please make sure that you have the three blessings. Blessings or blessing from your parents, blessing from your priest, and obviously and ultimately and most importantly, blessing from God / church, which God established. Blessings from parents is a traditional and normal thing, and obviously an important thing. We hope and pray that all the parents would bless their children in such a way. If for some reasons the parents do not give a blessing, then one would need to talk to the parish priest in regards to that. Secondly, the blessing from the priest, in other words, for you to go and visit with the priest and ask for his blessing for your unity so that he can meet you and your future spouse, or you and your fiance. And the third one is obviously done in church through the mystery or sacrament of holy matrimony. Please keep in mind that the marriage in church is the most amazing reality, because it's done in the kingdom of heaven. That's why it begins with, blessed is the kingdom of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and is performed by Christ, who uses the priest to perform this unity, to make this unity. Asking for such a unity and such a blessing, both from parents, from priests, and obviously and ultimately, most importantly, from God, brings great blessings for the future of your life and marriage. Holy matrimony, keep in mind, the sacrament itself is the most important part of the whole celebration. All else is a plus. So the band, the photographers, the videographers, the nice clothes, the good, delicious food, the big celebration, the flowers, and all those things are a plus, and they're wonderful. But never put aside the fact that the most important part of this all is literally standing in front of God Himself before your guests, both visible and invisible, if you will, and receiving that blessing and being united by God Himself. Very important is to think about during this process, to think about, now please don't misunderstand the following, because I do understand that one cannot please everyone at all times, but think about pleasing God in this process, as well as on the day of marriage, pleasing family, in other words, parents, family, and obviously friends. The reason I say this is mainly because many times, especially young couples, and I hate to say it, I fell into that trap myself back in the day to a degree, even though prior to it I finished seminary. I should have known better. The marriage is not only about us. We think it's about those who are being married only, but it's not. It's about their parents, it's about their family, it's about their friends, it's about their church community. So please don't fall into the trap of thinking this is just about me. You will be the focus of it, and you are the center of it, but it includes everyone. And it's very important that in the process, we make the effort to the best of our ability to please God, which is most important and first of all, then to make an effort to also please family and friends. And when I say God, I also and obviously mean the church which he established to make sure that we are doing everything according to church's guidelines. Okay, the next in line is to remind each person to be wedded that marriage is a path to salvation, and therefore on that path one will obviously have temptations, but one should not lose the sight of the fact that it is the path to salvation. We are doing it instead of alone, now with another person, which should make it helpful and more perfect. And therefore, in order to be on this path, just like going on any path, you need tools. If you're going up the hill, you need the stick. If you're walking on ice, you need shoes that are for ice, and so on and so forth. So walking towards the kingdom of heaven together, one needs the following as a married couple. First and foremost, to learn the faith, and secondly, to learn about going on that path together. In other words, to learn a little bit about married life. One can obviously learn that from parents, family, and friends, but it's also important to get together with the priest and have the priest share these things with you. As far as learning your faith so that you can more safely be on this path, it's important to learn how to pray. It's important to learn when and how to fast. Prayer and fasting are the two most important things for each and every person, especially for marriage and family. It's important to learn the importance of divine liturgy. All the church services are great, prayers are great, but the divine liturgy is entrance into the kingdom of heaven, that there's something very special that happens during divine liturgy, which brings great blessings on each person who attends it. And it's very important that the couple learns the importance of it. Also, how to defend your faith and how to defend what you believe and who you are is important to learn. And this, as I said earlier, talking to the priest, but also reading and maybe even watching videos online is crucial and important. Just make sure if you're reading things and watching things online that those things are canonical. In other words, that they are offered by the church, the canonical church, not just anyone and everyone who calls themselves Orthodox Christian and Orthodox Church. And obviously, as I mentioned, learning about married life is important to learn from the church perspective, but also to learn from family and friends. The next is traditions in regards to marriage. Traditions are many, and they are good. There's obviously nothing wrong with them, whether they're Serbian, American, Russian, Ukrainian, Greek, Romanian. Whatever the traditions are, they're good. They are either put before or after the holy matrimony or the service. The service itself is obviously something that is blessed by the church and has been practiced for many centuries. So we don't put things within it because that was blessed by the whole church and it's pure, but we can have our traditions before and after the holy matrimony. We should definitely ask our family about the traditions that we have and definitely confirm these with the parish priest. One of the most important things before getting married is doing Holy Confession and receiving Holy Communion. Holy Confession is extremely important because You seal the past, and you now have a fresh and new start for both of the future groom and bride. So make sure that you talk to the priest about having confession 2-3 weeks prior to the marriage ceremony or service, as well as partaking of Holy Communion at least a week or two prior to the Holy Matrimony. Ask the priest about paperwork. There are certain things that need to be put in line in a, I guess you could say administratively, but it's more than that. It may sound and look administrative, but as I said, it's more than that. The priest needs to have the baptismal certificates of both of the people to be wedded, as well as the 2 witnesses behind the couple who are there to witness the marriage. The priest also may need to have other blessings and ask the bishop. He cannot offer the blessings himself, but he needs to ask the bishop for certain blessings. I'm not going to go into exceptions to the rules that we have, but if that needs to happen, let's say one person is not an Orthodox Christian, there are special blessings and things one needs to go through in order to receive blessings for the wedding to be had, the people to participate, and so on and so forth. The ideal is obviously for 2 people to be part of the Orthodox Christian Church, and for the 2 witnesses to be, especially the 2 witnesses, to be part of the Orthodox Christian Church. Sometimes that does not happen, and therefore we need additional blessings. Practical reasons a lot of times, especially for witnesses. Sometimes people say, well, why can't witness be anyone and everyone? Well, because the church doesn't know them and they don't know the church. So for example, if something went wrong during the marriage ceremony, the bishop, and let's say the priest did something wrong, the bishop would then call that person who was the witness, and that person naturally would be part of the church, and the bishop would know how to communicate with that person, to find that person, and on and on and on. That's why these things are set up the way that they are. Prepare a booklet which explains the marriage ceremony and the traditions within it, like the crowns that we wear, the tying of the hands, which is done in the Serbian Orthodox Church, the drinking of the common cup, the walk around the table. Those are important things for guests, especially because many people we have either from other Orthodox churches who don't have the same traditions, or denominations out there and different faiths out there who would feel much more comfortable if they understood why these things are happening. When it comes to donations, a lot of times people ask me that, how much does it cost? And the response is always, at least here at St. Nicholas Church, I can do that. The response is always nothing. Sacraments don't cost anything. And I have a feeling that's the case in every parish. However, there are parishes who establish certain fees for reasons, mainly because there are unfortunately some people who abuse these type of things. In other words, would easily pay a band $5,000 or a videographer $7,000, a photographer $2,000, the wedding feast $25,000, $30,000, and then would not donate anything to the church. So that's why some of the communities establish, they know how things work in their communities, and they establish specific fees. We do not have fees at St. Nicholas Church, mainly because personally I feel uncomfortable talking about these things, and I am going to feel uncomfortable even now. But I will tell you that if you are able, so it doesn't cost anything. Obviously, these things don't cost. But if you're able to make a donation and offer a gift to the church, to the priest, to the cantor, to the choir, to the helper in the altar, those are all common things which people do, and they do accordingly. Obviously, how much they are able to do. But please, as a father of this parish, don't allow yourself to spend $20, $30, $50,000 on everything else, but then when it comes to the church itself, give as little as possible. I don't have that experience here, I must say, at St. Nicholas Church, but it's worthwhile mentioning, because the most important thing is happening into the church. Everything else is secondary, and that's the way it needs to be looked at. Last two things. One is, especially here at St. Nicholas Church, we have a tradition of gathering on the 22nd of March, so please save the date. This is for the newlyweds, but it's also for those preparing to be wedded. It's like a marriage seminar in a sense, and I will talk more about that at in one of the other videos. But 22nd of March, every year in the evening, we have a very special gathering on the day of Mladenci, the youths of Sebast, the martyrs rather of Sebast, sorry. We have a gathering where we talk about marriage and so on and so forth. And as I said, I will talk about that later, but at another video. But please mark that in your calendar, put in your calendar, make sure you're available, because it's mandatory for all couples to be present. And then last, but certainly not least, prepare for temptations. The fact that you're asking for a blessing from God Almighty, the fact that you're preparing the most joyous event of your life, the fact that this is a mystery, a sacrament, it's done in and by the church, the evil one does not like that. So he will cause all kinds of temptations for you, the arguments with your parents, with family, with your future spouse. He will make things very hard, even to the last minute, if you will. But make sure that you do not give in to that, and that at all times, number one, you keep Christ as close to you as possible. Number two, expect these things. Have zero expectancy when it comes to everything you plan or whatever the case is, because in that case, everything will be a plus. Pray, fast. Do not forget that you're being tempted, because it's when we forget that we are being tempted that the evil one succeeds. He wants to make this not a good day, but a bad day for you, and Christ will not allow that. And if you remember that, Christ will protect you. If you pray to him, he will save you, he will safeguard you, and everything will be absolutely wonderful and great. God bless you on your journey, and stay tuned for the next presentation or lecture on this theme.